Africa's highest peak seems more striking than a lot of other famous mountains, because it's an ancient stratovolcano that's not part of any mountain range. That means the 19,000-foot summit drops down to vast, flat plains on all sides, making it a mirage-like blip on Tanzania's widespread topography. As an added bonus, the peak requires no technical mountaineering skills to summit, so even novice hikers can cross this item off their bucket list. Mount Kilimanjaro is a dormant volcano in Tanzania. It has 3 volcanic cones, Kibo, Mawenzi, and Shira. It is the highest mountain in Africa and the highest single freestanding mountain above sea level in the world, 5,895 meters above sea level and about 4,900 meters above its plateau base located in Tanzania. Mount Kilimanjaro is Africa's tallest mountain at about 5,895 meters, 19,340 feet. It is the largest freestanding mountain rise in the world, meaning it is not part of a mountain range. Also called a stratovolcano, a term for a very large volcano made of ash, lava, and rock, Kilimanjaro is made up of 3 cones, Kibo, Mawenzi, and Shira. Kibo is the summit of the mountain and the tallest of the 3 volcanic formations. While Mawenzi and Shira are extinct, Kibo is dormant and could possibly erupt again. Scientists estimate that the last time it erupted was 360,000 years ago. The highest point on Kibo's crater rim is called Uhuru, the Swahili word for freedom. The mountain is also known for its snow-capped peak. However, scientists warn that the snow might disappear within the next 20 years or so. In 1889, German geographer Hans Meyer and Austrian mountaineer Ludwig Perceler became the first people on record to reach the summit of Kilimanjaro. Since then, Kilimanjaro has become a popular hiking spot for locals and tourists. Because mountaineering gear and experience is not needed to reach the peak, tens of thousands of climbers ascend the mountain each year. The climb is still dangerous. However, because of the risk of altitude sickness, a condition climbers experience if they ascend too quickly, which can be deadly if not treated right away. In 1973, the mountain and its 6 surrounding forest corridors were named Kilimanjaro National Park in order to protect its unique environment. The park was named the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, World Heritage Site in 1987. A variety of animals live in the area surrounding the mountain, including the blue monkey Kilimanjaro, volcanic massif in northeastern Tanzania, near the Kenya border. Its central cone, Kibo, rises to 19,340 feet, 5,895 meters, and is the highest point in Africa. Kilimanjaro lies about 100 miles, 160 kilometers, east of the East African Rift System and about 140 miles, 225 kilometers, south of Nairobi, Kenya. The massif extends approximately east-west for 50 miles, 80 kilometers, and consists of 3 principal extinct volcanoes, Kibo, center, Mawenzi, east, and Shira, west. Kibo, the youngest and highest, retains the form of a typical volcanic cone and crater and is linked by a 7-mile, 11-kilometer, saddle at about 15,000 feet, 4,500 meters, with Mawenzi, 16,893 feet, 5,149 meters, which is the older core of a former summit. Shira Ridge, 13,000 feet, 3,962 meters, is a remnant of an earlier crater. Below the saddle, Kilimanjaro slopes in a typical volcanic curve to the plains below, which lie at an elevation of about 3,300 feet, 1,000 meters. The breathtaking snow-clad dome of Kibo contains a caldera, crater, on its southern side that is 1.2 miles, 2 kilometers, across and some 980 feet, 300 meters, deep, with an inner cone that displays residual volcanic activity. Mawenzi's cone is highly eroded, jagged, and precipitous and is cleft east and west by gorges. Only Kibo retains a permanent ice cap. Mawenzi has semi-permanent ice patches and substantial seasonal snow. The mountain and its surrounding forests were designated a game reserve in the early part of the 20th century. In 1973, Mount Kilimanjaro National Park was established to protect the mountain above the tree line as well as the 6 forest corridors that extend downslope through the montane forest belt. The park was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1987. Kilimanjaro has a succession of vegetation zones consisting of, from base to summit, the semi-arid scrub of the surrounding plateau, the massifs cultivated, well-watered southern slopes, dense cloud forest, open moorland, alpine desert, and moss and lichen communities. Two notable species that grow in the moorlands are the giant lobelia, Lobelia decanii, and the giant ground sorrel, Senecio johnstonii cottonii. The forests of the southern slopes and surrounding areas are home to elephants, buffalo, and eland, ox-like antelopes. Smaller mammals inhabiting the forests include black and white colobus monkeys, blue monkeys, and bushbuck and duikers, small African antelopes. The forests also host a rich variety of bird life, including the rare Abbott's starling. The Kilimanjaro formations became known to Europeans when they were reached in 1848 by the German missionaries Johannes Riedmann and Johann Ludwig Krapf, although the news that there were snow-capped mountains so close to the equator was not believed until more than a decade later. The Kibo summit was first reached in 1889 by the German geographer Hans Meyer and the Austrian mountaineer Ludwig Percheller. The Kilimanjaro region is one of Tanzania's leading producers of mild coffee, barley, wheat, and sugar. Other crops include sisal, corn, maize, beans, bananas, wattle-bark, acacia, cotton, pyrethrum, and potatoes. The region is populated by the Sharga, Shaga, Bear, K, and Mbuga peoples. The town of Moshi, at the southern foot of Kilimanjaro, is the chief trading center and base for ascent. As Kibo's peak can be reached without the aid of mountaineering equipment, thousands of hikers attempt the ascent.